Hello and welcome to this live game dev hangout. Today we're going to work on the Nexus prototype game for Outward Light Studio. You can find the source code on github.com/outwardlightstudio/nexus. I'll demo the game real quick. And we're building a rocket game. It's a bubble rocket. It allows you to fly and maneuver in a 2.5D world. And you have to launch and land safely. There's increasingly difficult levels. I've been flying this a lot while we do the level development. A lot of which have stationary obstacles and some moving obstacles or hazards. So it's intended to be a playful game, kind of inspired by children's toys. And we're introducing a few other game mechanics, such as multi-step puzzles. We're working on improving the art style a little bit, and we'll see where the roadmap takes us. Looks like this is supposed to be moving. I'll have to fix that. It's a regression I introduced from my recent work with these moving hazards, where I didn't update the properties of this level. Yeah, this one's supposed to be moving as well. Okay. So good, I'm playing through the levels. It's also maybe highlighting the importance of sort of testing. If there's a way I can introduce some tests to make sure that these are moving, I'm not sure if that would be possible. That's the level pack that we've got so far. I didn't point out, though, we have a fuel mechanic. So there's a limited amount of fuel that you need to essentially, you need to traverse the level within the time, essentially. It's a sort of timer, but more natural for a rocket to have a limited fuel than some sort of artificial timer. And we do actually have 3 other levels that aren't linked into this sequence I just recalled that are more complicated, and they do push you to the limit of your fuel. Let's see if I demo those real quick. So we need to just link these in, and probably a better way of managing the levels. I think 5, 6, and 7 were submitted by Resonate Techno. Here we go. So this is a bigger level. We can see, oh no, getting up to the limit of my fuel. So Victor has contributed these more difficult levels. We need some way of indicating to the player that these are more challenging. Proceed at your own risk. Oh, darn it. And use your fuel conservatively if you can. Feels like a little hummingbird kind of flying around. You can land and chill for a second. I have only a little bit of fuel left. How am I going to get through there? I think I should come up through the bottom. Yeah, these are actually really challenging. Oh. The bubble should maybe turn off when we crash. Not sure exactly. We also have a boost mechanic I have not been using. Okay, so I'm going to just land here, go up. Made it. Okay, I'm not going to go through these other levels, but you can see they're increasingly difficult. So that's where we are. It's kind of a fun little game. We have controller support, so maybe it's easier to play with controller. So there's some debug messages we might have to clean up as well. Since I just noticed it, we'll fix these levels that are broken. I'm going to open VS Code here real quick. Make sure we're on a branch. So what I'll do real quick is fix those moving hazards and then tie in the new levels to the previous ones. So we'll see how that works. So essentially, we just double click a level to open it. We can see in the 3D viewer, okay, this one has the blue hazards are stationary. 3 has a moving hazard, which is working. Here we go, moving hazard. So what I had done is this desired transform changed. So I think I changed the property name and didn't come in and edit the levels. I'm thinking if I shove these out of phase, one starts at the top, one starts at the bottom. I don't know. Let's try real quick. I think it would be interesting. Okay. That one's not working. What happened? Yeah, there we go. Sometimes they'll give you a little boost. I like it. All right, good. The physics makes it more entertaining, I think. Okay, so this one needs, I think, and I wonder if you can start these expanded. This one probably needs to come down by, did I find another bug? Maybe I have to apply it. There it goes. I don't know. So yeah, maybe it needs to come down like -5. Basically where it's going to squash the rocket. Tab out, hit play, save. Huh. This is another thing I've noticed. The values don't always update when I apply them. For some reason, save it. I'll load the scene. It's saved up here. There we go. That's probably pretty good. Is it enough to clip you though? Trip you up. Let me see. Crash. I think it should come down a little bit more and bonk you. That way at least it's gonna interfere with you a little bit on your takeoff. Oh, we went clipped through the floor. Nice. Oh, yes. It makes it more challenging. All right, we're good to go. These are Resende Tech. So he's got a stationary one. It's really long. Really pushes your fuel to the limit. They are. You can beat them. We've tested them. They can be beat. And just basically what he did is doubled the length of the level. Created an extension of the level. In level 7, it has some movers. So these I need to set the desired transformation. These are probably -7. Desired transformation 7. I'll try to make them so they're not synchronized. And we can have one rotating. Okay, let's see this one. This is a difficult one too. I don't know if it's more difficult than the previous one. I think it is. You have to be fast. It'll bonk you against the roof. I might have made it so you can't beat it now. That's a problem if that's the case. Okay, let's see. Or you might have to use the booster on this one. Oh, or fly really high. There we go. Wow. I have to make sure I can beat it. Another thing is the duration is really a problem. So let me slow them down. That could be the deal. Oh, wait a minute. Although that was pretty cool. And we could have, hypothetically, some kind of a difficulty setting that tweaks some of these variables depending on how difficult you choose the level to be. Makes them faster. Dang. Now I think it's going to be feasible though. If I can get over the initial obstacle. Here we go. Chill for a second. All right, watch out. Yeah, now it's more chill, at least. It's still a matter of managing a few. Okay, the rotation's not working here. This one should be rotating. It's like sometimes they don't take effect, or there could be a bug. It could be that when we multiply that, it comes to 0. That's one thing I have to get used to. It's not actually going to rotate it by n degrees. It's going to multiply that. Or somehow, yeah, it comes to, so maybe the feature is not working how I'm expecting it. The design was that it should rotate that many times. That was the design goal, I think. That way you could have it like spinning really fast or... Now we got the rotation working. I can see it over there. Okay, that was all I wanted to check. Yeah, let's just verify that I can beat the level. I can now that it's more calm. Oh, and you can even fly behind that one. That's kind of cool. All right, well, my goal here isn't to tweak the levels too much. It's just to fix that bug. I'm almost out of fuel. The landing, you gotta stick the landing. We do allow crash landings so far in the game logic. All right, I got a little bit of fuel if I'm just conservative here. Nice. Okay, so those are fixed. Now the other thing, okay, so when you complete level 5, you land here and we'll just say we're going to take you to level 6 now. There's probably a better way of defining these level relationships, some kind of metadata file. So level 6 now should take you, I believe, to level 7. And then level 7 would take you to the credits screen. But in our case, we're going to go back to level 1. All right, the circle continues. Yep. Adjust the properties of moving hazards and update level references to ensure correct positioning and functionality within the game environment. All right, that's good enough. Kind of generic or bland. And since it's just a small pull request and I want to get onto a larger feature, I'm going to merge this. I'm not going to ask for review. Resende Tech's not necessarily available to review these on a regular basis. So I'm just kind of solo developing a lot of these features. Delete the branch, check out main. Huh, hello. Back over to Godot. Okay, I'm going to refresh my T real quick and we will continue with the current iteration. I have a task here to add background music. I think that would be a nice touch to make the game a little bit more polished. It's really rough right now, but we're moving small increments forward. I'll be right back. Okay, let's take a look at this task. I don't have much of a description. We have just been adding these on our sprint board here, our iteration board, and the title is descriptive enough, I think. What I would like to use is an open source component called the Godot Music Controller. It comes from Maaacks game template, and we're just using one component out of this, but if we do another project, we'll probably just start with this game template now that I've been looking at it. Here it is, the music. So how do we add this? Go to the asset lib. And first, let me make sure I'm in a branch. And then in Godot, go to the asset lib, do a Markov machine. What's that? All right, dialogues, aerodynamic physics, interesting. Nodes for aerodynamic simulation. Wow. A little rocket game could advance. Aero body 3D nodes you're seeing, add as many aero influence 3D nodes as necessary. There's some cool stuff in the asset library. Pixel space background generator. Well, we're in a cave right now, so it would be rocket themed. But anyway, music. Okay, 2D tools, all tools, music player. This one does sound cool, but it's untested on 4.3, so it's an unfortunate thing. So I think this would be the best. Downloading. So it's going to put it in our add-ons folder, which is kind of weird because then it's going to get checked into our revision control. It is MIT, which includes the license. Okay, well, that's just the way Godot, some of the Godot development stuff is a bit weird. Like you have to add Git support to the project. I think I have not done that yet. Ooh, camera shake 3D when we pop, do a little shake. Or when you bump something, you could shake a little bit. Interesting. All right, so let's just continue. Asset lib, download the result, open the detail, add-ons. So now if I check my Git, we have all this stuff that's now part of our revision history. It's kind of doesn't quite make sense to me, but okay. We don't like with the other programming languages like Python or JavaScript or almost any other thing. You don't really keep your dependencies under your revision control. Maybe some language like will vendor the dependencies, and it's just kind of, so what do I ignore this? And then how would that be included? Yeah, you do like a npm install or pip install to get those dependencies in, but they're not part of your, again, project source. Reload the project. You may see errors before you do this. Enable the plugin from the project settings page. Okay, but anyway, that's just the Godot way. So we're going to need to reload the project. So I will reload the current project. We've thought about if we're going to do like a multiplayer edition of this game, and adding VoIP would be cool. Nice. Dialogues. We don't have a game that would have dialogue, but this is interesting. The Gates browser, I don't know what that is. I'm getting too sidetracked by the interesting stuff. All right, so we've got this added to the project. We've restarted. Now we go to the project settings plugin tab, and we enable Maaacks Music Controller. Yes. Marek Belsky. Thank you. This is great. The starter menus and credit screens and the music controller. This is really making a huge impact on the Godot community, helping people get projects started faster. Okay, download. Okay, so we did that. Now to use it, we use the audio stream player nodes in your scenes to play background music as normal. Make sure matching audio bus is set. How it works. Project Music Controller is an autoload that keeps music playing between scenes. It detects music stream players as they are added to the scene tree, presents them, reparents them to itself when they are removed, and blends all the tracks. An audio bus is added. Okay, so essentially we're just going to use the audio stream player in our levels. And to do this, to test it out, I'm going to grab a track that I made that I think would be good for this game. And I made this one a while ago. Back here in my rational, well, not super long time ago, but it's a modular. We've agreed. We're going to try to make all the music with a modular synthesis program called VCV Rack. I'll just show that real quick on the screen. This is a really cool environment, and I plan to do some sessions here streaming. I do them on a different YouTube channel, but I'm thinking whether I should just have one focus, one Twitch, one YouTube for all these creative endeavors. In any case, it's called a Eurorack simulator or emulator, and it allows you to do modular synthesis, generate synthesizer sounds and all sorts of interesting music and just sound effects and noise and you name it in a quite creative and technical way. It's not for the faint of heart, and sometimes the concepts are a bit confusing. Anyway, I made this album mostly with VCV Rack, and there's one song in particular. I think it's this Deep Field. Let me double check. No, that one actually wasn't made with VCV Rack. Then there's probably Kirkkopuisto. This is a good one. Or Rose Lemonade. Yeah, this is the one. It's an ambient, wobbly, chill track. I'll download that real quick. Okay, well, you can do it later, but you can tell it's very slow developing, maybe a bit slow pace for this game, but it's very ambient and relaxing. And I'll try to include the VCV patch in here as well so people can check out how it was made. Okay, so now we have assets, music, and I accidentally created an additional music folder here, which I will delete. All right, so essentially now we should have, now that we've enabled the plugin, at least a global music controller. So then I think if I add this audio stream, so adding an audio stream layer and selecting a stream. I wonder if I can just drag and drop this, how this works. It's sort of giving an example. The documentation expects you to know how they work. Really, I think we should be careful with documentation, not to make any assumptions of familiarity and really be detailed. And it does have a little bit of space at the end there. Okay, so that's that. Essentially, to all the levels, I was thinking if we should have multiple songs, but maybe later. So all of the levels will play the same song. I think the whole game can be completed in the time it takes to complete the song. Does it work? Let's find out. I'll turn it up a little bit. I don't want to get too much feedback in the microphone. See, this is what I'm saying. The documentation is just real thin, as normal. Okay. Yeah, it's good enough. Music's... Yeah, so I got the right audio stream type. Not sure why it's not playing. So, should I autoplay to true? Let me double check. Level audio stream. This one I didn't save that one. All right. Yeah. Nice. Let's see if it continues. No, because the bus is not set correctly. So, fixed target, stereo. Still playing. How do I stop it? Where is it playing? Sounds spooky. To the browser? What do you do? VCB Rack. It's good stuff. Okay, let's go through this again. The instructions. Project settings, plugins, enabled, edit. All right, asset lib, search, click, download. It's in there. Click to install. Click to install. Huh. Okay, that's probably the step I missed. Extra step. All right, asset lib. Yeah, I did. Enabled it. Reloaded it. I'll quit to the project list and then try again. Bus. So there's no music bus. Dang it. How do I get to these buses? How do I see if it's loaded? I can edit it directly. I don't think it's loading. Do I have to create that audio bus? Project. Interesting. Let's see if that works. Interesting. That's pretty cool though. Put effects on there. Ooh, nice. I like this. That would be cool if you could throw a VST in there, but then no, that would bring up a whole bunch of stuff. You can't distribute VST in plugins, for example. It's nice that it does ship with some. See if that helped. Adding this audio bus. But then, the inspector audio stream player can now be on the music bus. Cool. Let's do this for a couple levels just to see if it works. Level 2.5, music bus, maybe 3 level. I don't remember which order they're coming in the actual game. Wait a minute. There we go. All right, so we have some music playing. It's slow. There it goes. Just gonna let it build up a little bit. No, no. Maybe only the first scene needs to be autoplay enabled. This is why documentation does actually matter. Okay, it just has to be matching. For Godot 2, 4.2. So yeah, the game is a bit more challenging and sort of fast paced, but I think we want to balance it to be a little bit relaxing when you come home after work or enjoy playing with kids. So maybe some having the chill ambient music is a nice balance. So basically at a loss. What's this debugger? There's something here. Yeah. I said it's a stream. Just a wild guess. No. It absolutely needs to continue playing. It's just not the same. Well, working on another task. I hope this isn't going to be the case with the Godot asset library where just things don't work and you have versions of plugins that are incompatible and it's just a mess. Ecosystems are ecosystems. So let's see, category music. Or we get a situation like in the WordPress plugin ecosystem where there's like all these commercial plugins that are supposed to be open source licensed and there's just a bunch of, it's just a mess. And we'll see how it shapes up. What does it do? How do you do it? Layered tracks, simple volume control, volume fading. That's kind of cool. So you can define a playlist and it'll keep going through those. So essentially I need to make sure it's 4.3 compatible and search again, I guess. It shows. Why didn't that work? I know that Godot did make some changes to the music and audio stream recently. That could have been the 4.3 change. That might have impacted this music controller. I don't understand it though. It seems so simple. This is interesting. We can start doing audio stems and like layering atmospheric sounds. It'd be nice if they had a little light box or something so I didn't have to open a new tab. This one seems a little bit more advanced. Hasn't been updated in a bit. Might not be a problem. The other option is to just do this myself with Claude. Let's try that. So I've opened a support request. I tried following instructions. I do like this audio bus layout. So what I'll do is I'll refresh my T real quick. Start a new branch. I'll stash these changes. And we'll see what Claude can help us do. I'll be right back. Okay, very cool. Let's stash these changes. Or just honestly just revert them. Which means probably gonna crash. No. I will reload the project. I did like that audio bus. I think I would like to create that. And we could add a little bit of reverb. Okay, yeah. Crashed. All right, so here's what I'm doing. Starting conversation. Let's start with a specification. One hypothetical approach to having background music. Looking at Maaacks background music layer, you add a track to each level or scene. And that kind of makes sense because each scene might have a different kind of tempo or aesthetic or some kind of ambiance that you want to have. However, it adds a bit of noise in the tree, and I'm thinking an approach could be to have a global music player registry that has all the tracks registered in there, and you can access it and control it from within scene logic, but you don't have to add a new node in all the scenes. It's just a global background music player. Probably a scene. So for this one, since I'm asking for a specification, I'm going to switch the tone to formal. And basically, let's create a feature specification for a global background music player that will be auto-loaded in a Godot game and play one or more songs from a playlist that can be configured by the Godot user interface. So maybe a scene or something like that. Since the background music player is an auto-loaded, it's not necessary to modify other scenes to load the background music. However, the GD scripts in the scene should be able to interact with the player to change to a specific track if the level calls for it. Please help me write a feature specification that outlines a high-level goal and purpose of this from the standpoint of Godot and general prior art. I think when we start with the specification, this is then going to be fed into the large language model for implementation. Interesting. Yeah. I don't like that it has tracks and track names as separate lists. I would like them to be, I want to keep the data and the configuration together, sort of like dictionaries. BGM track, audio stream title, interesting, pitch scale, okay. And then the playlist consists of tracks. That makes more sense to me. That way the relevant metadata for the track is contained together, especially these tracks might not be normalized to common standards. I'm not sure what the pitch scaling is going to do. In the context, pitch shifting, I guess, I don't know. So this is looking better. Smart preloading for the next track while a current track plays. Unload tracks not in immediate use. Consider memory budget for audio streams. Use audio stream import settings. All right, so I'm going to copy this specification onto GitHub just so at least we've got this progress. So my issue here. Okay. Now the next step, I'm going to feed a little bit of metadata about the project to the LLM. Essentially, here's our project structure. So we'll get the architecture. Let's design music controller add-on architecture. And if this works, and it seems like a good idea, I think we should publish this in the Godot asset library, see what other people think of it. First, we'll try it in our game, though. That's one of the reasons why we're developing this game as an open source and using an open source game engine. So we can also contribute to the Godot ecosystem. It's really important. And Godot is a really cool game engine. I will publish this. Also, there's the feature specification. Here's the architecture specification. I don't know why it got all messed up there, but okay. Did I, oh, you know what I might, no, I did copy it with the copy button, I think. Okay, save that. So now we've got a really big feature description and probably a lot better architecture, including methods that I would not have even thought of, which do seem kind of obvious though. Play next, play previous, pause, resume, you know, like a CD player or, or MP3 player, or even that's probably showing my age there, but yeah, player. Spotify, oh boy. All right, so let's start the implementation. So I think we've got some stuff here. But you see it's using that Maaacks Music Controller. So this is really interesting. It makes me curious to what extent the code resembles the Maaacks Music Player Music Controller. Ideally, we would just have been able to use this, but not have to maintain our own. But okay, I should just clarify this too. What Briley's Music Controller, or I just call it background music controller. All right, so let's see what we can do here. Maybe I'll use VS Code for the time being, just because it plays a little bit better with my screen real estate. That way I can put Claude and VS Code side by side. So there's the specification. So reading the spec, actually, I'm not sure if VS Code is where, let's see, of the kind of import, how the if imports work in Godot, or language server protocol is not working correctly, or if this is just not going to work. I don't really know how imports work in Godot either. Escape that. Oh, duh, it's right there. Hopefully they're just not global. I think I saw a presentation where they were saying, please give us namespaces. Let's see. So we got resources. I need default playlist. TRE. So I guess then if I go to autoload, rename that. Default playlist. Interesting. It wasn't made with VCB rack, that was the problem. So All right, so now we're going to check. Now I need to figure out how to autoload this. I think I saw. So I need to create a scene. We'll call that music player scene. Apparently I just need to attach the script. Weird. Okay, so that didn't work. All right, so I just need to configure it. So it looks like we might have to make sure these exist. Got music. Music continues. They should be out of sync, I think. Isn't they tech? That guy cheated in the last one. Nice. We have a working player, music player that we want to maintain, and maybe can contribute to the Godot asset library. It just works. Have a little bit of music, ambiance. Okay, yeah, it's been a bit. So let's go ahead and commit these changes. Pretty nice. Little readme there. One other thing that's nice to have in the assets music is going to be attribution. It works. Publish. Open a pull request. I'll review it a little bit more thoroughly, but I need to take a break for the... Great. Well, this has been another live game dev hangout. If you'd like to check the specific changes we've worked on in this session, I've linked the pull request here. I'll go ahead and summarize them in this video just so we have that record in the video, and I'll upload it to YouTube. So essentially what we've done is just added, I'm going to go top to bottom, not in a logical order, just the file system order. In our assets music directory, we've now got a structure to add, MP3s or other file formats and give proper attribution. So I've just loaded one track of mine from the Free Music Archive. You're free to check that out. And Godot creates a little sidecar file with the import settings. And we have a little format here for giving proper attribution, including license details. My track is licensed Creative Commons attribution, and I think we'll probably look for music in that vein, so we can give credits for each artist and then the tracks we use with that artist. We've introduced a new background music controller that's been authored and designed by Claude, really just some prompts, and you could see in this session how we went from the high-level feature specification, software architecture specification, into the actual implementation, starting at the big picture and moving down into the details. I think that's a good workflow because each of those steps feeds the large language model important context information and allows me to steer the design of the feature more than the implementation. Now, I have to review the implementation, but we did test it and it works. So there could be some bugs, and I haven't gone line for line in there. It's relatively small, so it's kind of easy to implement. And one important thing we included was a README here, which is kind of setting us up that if we want to publish this on the Godot asset library, how do you use it? I will go through the more of the README and make sure it's relevant. I had to do a little bit of figuring out how to use it. It wasn't quite explicit in the large language model, but as I'm learning more about Godot, those types of things are becoming more intuitive. So our resources consist of two type of elements. So I'll just remove that real quick and I'll push that off. I'll just push that right now. Terminal's not taking input. Something weird's happening in VS Code. So that's now gone. So we have this playlist resource, playlist.gd, which is a playlist resource. It consists of an array of background music tracks, and we'll look at those in a moment. Whether or not it should be looped or shuffled, and some crossfade and data decibel, like volume control. And this is sort of like the stringified version. Interesting. Then we give ourselves a tool, background music track. This is also registered as a tool, which is a resource consisting of one audio stream with a title. So that way each audio stream is associated with a label there and some volume, pitch, and looping information there. And then the dunder stir method, get resource name. So we loaded those in to a player, and we have that here. And essentially, background music player has a playlist, and each has one or more tracks. And you can add elements and change the indexing, drag and drop your audio stream into there. So it's all done in the user interface. Pretty cool. The background music player, again, was written by Claude. I haven't gone line for line, but it's only like around 80 lines of code and implementing the core functionality. We have tested it, that it does play the track and it continues to track across scenes. And that was the main goal today. We'll go through more detail about these crossfading and what finish transition might do. But for the time being, I think this is good enough to include in our little prototype project. And essentially we added in our project now an autoload to bring that background music player into the game automatically, and it just works. So one more quick demo. To do the autoload, you just go to project settings and you locate your global by just browsing to it, and then background music player is added there. And then when we load the game, there's some background music playing. Continues across the scene boundary. And it kind of sets the mood a little bit. So it's a bit more chill, even though there can be some pressure involved in these levels. You're crashing, you're moving, avoiding obstacles, and trying to learn how to fly this bubble rocket without crashing. We do allow crash landings. You're like, oh, I can't go that way. I have to go different way first. And it's done with modular synthesizer, kind of, it's a good mood, good aesthetic. We'll publish the source code for the PCB rack patches as well. So that's it in a nutshell. That's how our little features in game is shaping up. All right, well, thanks for your time. I hope you're doing well. Have a great day.